Welcome back, everyone. On today's episode, we address questions on welcome series, email send days, SMS send cadence, two-step sign-up form deception, and omni-channel automation. I'm Greg Zackwitz.
And I'm Gabe Macaluso. Greg, did you know that in April of 1896, the first Olympics of the modern era was held in Athens after a break of 1,500 years? What do you think it took so long to start them back up?
I don't know. Maybe they were waiting on a response from Klaviyo's customer support. Just saying. Welcome, everyone, to today's show. We're glad to have you back, and you know how it works. 5 topics, 3 minutes each. We run long, we apologize later, and then we move on. Before we get started, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. And if you have any email questions you want us to answer, leave them in the comments section below. Gabe, our first topic is about welcome series messages. One of the most commonly asked questions when it comes to welcome series is how many messages is the right number? Well, what's the answer?
All right, so blanket statement, I'm going to say 3 is kind of the sweet spot. You can go longer. I would probably never go shorter unless, I'm sure I can come up with an example of a product that you could go shorter, but I think 3 is kind of your sweet spot, right? So first message, if we break down the content, first message is, if you're signing up to get an incentive, it's, hey, thanks for signing up. Here's your coupon, or here's your incentive. That's what people are going to want. They want it as quickly as possible. Second message goes to anybody. And you can really get creative in content with this. And this is where you can kind of start splitting things out depending on the product and how much you want to flow it. Second message is usually a reminder if they haven't used that incentive. Or this is where you get creative with splits and start kind of going down the path of like, hey, have you connected with us on social? We want to know more about you. This is where you send them to a managed preferences form. And then third message is sort of that last chance opportunity. So like, have they actually made the purchase? If they haven't, the coupon's about to expire. Newsflash, even if the coupon doesn't actually ever expire, just that little sense of urgency is going to drive those conversions. So just giving them that sense of urgency. Greg, what do you feel is the most important piece that people often exclude from the welcome series, but you always recommend they put in it?
To me, it's actually getting them to convert, like an actual hard sales pitch, right? So I look at it and go, okay, why did someone sign up for the email program? Well, probably they might be looking for a discount in that welcome message, so give it to them if you offer one. If not, use your value adds there. And then 2, because they're shopping, right? They want to hear from you. They are not, this is what we could probably debate. You said something I wanted to kind of debate here, but they're not signing up for your email because they need to learn your brand story. They could do that on the website if you have a brand story worth telling. They're there because they want to shop. I drive the sales, right? So maybe the one thing is UGC, top selling products, customer favorites, things like that. Though that's maybe a message that I would center around maybe message 2, hit in there. I do not advise people to send either dedicated connect with us on social messages or managed preference messages, and I have my reasons for it. But you mentioned it. I want to debate this, and we don't have a lot of time to debate, but why do you say that, Gabe?
I think it's a drive for content, and you can always extend that welcome series. We can see that the return on each message is going to diminish as it goes on. The first message is always be the highest converting. The last message in the series is always be the lowest converting. So to me, my statement to my customers is always, listen, like if you get 10 people to convert off the first message and 5 to convert off the second and 2.5 off the third, you can still get that 1 out of the 4. So you kind of have to do those proportions. If you get to a point where like nobody's converting on the 5th, 6th, 7th messages, then you don't need those. But if you can kind of get that diminishing return and that's just enough of a nudge to get people through it and to make that conversion, which obviously is the number one goal, then I say, hey, connect with them, get them engaged. They're already active. They're looking for that stuff. You're new. You're the new girl in town, right? Or the new boy in town, whichever your preference is. So, show off a little bit.
So to me, that makes sense. Here's why I say never to do that. 1, they know how to find you on social, right? It's super easy. Everyone's on their phone. They know how to connect with you and they know how to find you if they want. So I prefer to use that as like secondary content. You can make it big. You can make it prominent. I don't need a whole message, but your reasoning holds up there. Managed preferences, no one ever uses that information. So few people actually fill it out because they didn't sign up because they want to fill out more forms. I say just ignore it. You can maybe get that at post-purchase if you get it into them. We are so over on time. I like your actual answer though. typically 3 is where people wind up. That's kind of my number. I don't think there's a hard and fast rule, but that's typically where people wind up is 3 messages. I'll give you the consultant's cop out. Test it for yourself. Let us know how it goes. But if you have any strong feelings one way or the other, leave a comment in the section below.
All right, Greg. Our next topic is a doozy. Greg, which days of the week or day of the week are best, and when should I avoid sending?
Oh my goodness. This is like the, I don't know, what's the rule to avoid in subject line conversation here.
Yeah.
So we've looked at Omnisend data, and we kind of put recommendations out there to say, okay, weekdays around business hours tend to have the best conversions. I would say that people like to shop when they're working or they need that mental break. I don't think that's a bad thing to do whatsoever. So I would say, again, consultants, cop out, test it. But the other thing you always hear is weekends are generally lower. But people still shop on the weekends, right? Whether they go to a mall, they go to a store, or they're laying on their couch because they have more time themselves and they get bored and they start clicking on emails. So I would say send out weekends. We do see, and we've been tracking this for years, Omnisend and just myself with my own inbox where I get hundreds of messages on a daily basis. Weekends tend to be lower send volume days. So I think for brands, I say that's an opportunity there. This also goes, Gabe, you'll recognize this, is a few years ago is you never send an email on Christmas. You never send an email on Thanksgiving Day. Those days are huge shopping days now.
Yeah.
I think that's out the window. My answer is there is no perfect day. Figure it out for yourself. But I think weekdays, business hours is a good time. People with kids shop at night. Generally do it. Don't avoid the weekends. You got to figure out what works best for you. I've consumed the time, but run at it, Gabe.
Yeah. So to me, I think this is an opportunity where you can have fun. And this is where we have to kind of remind ourselves as marketers that we should be having fun doing our job, because we get to talk about our brands in all kinds of creative ways. So I always like to work with different sort of verticals. And I've worked with adult product brands. And I'm like, okay, when are people most likely going to make this impulse buy? Friday night, Saturday night. Test sending out an email like 10 o'clock Eastern because you're with your friends, you're drinking, you check your phone, and you're like, oh, this is interesting. And you've lost a little bit of your inhibition, right? So I think that's kind of a fun thing to kind of play around. Does it work for every brand? No. If there's those inhibition brands, is that going to spike the revenue? Maybe not at all, but at least then what's going to work and what's not going to work. I love your comments about Christmas and Thanksgiving. Those are my favorite times to send "you deserve it" emails, especially to the people putting together the party, right? So you kind of say, hey, you've worked your butt off getting this family together, getting the holiday meal ready. You should treat yourself. Everyone's opened all the presents. Maybe you were forgotten because you're the one that buys the presents for everybody. And you're sitting there checking your phone, avoiding family conversation. And it's like, you know what? I did work my butt off this time of year. I should get myself something. I think those are huge self-care shopping days.
All right, I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to pose the same question to you because we are out of time. But if there are 2 days you have to choose not to send an email, what are they going to be? For me, I'm going to say Sunday, Tuesday.
Yeah, I would say Sunday morning and
you don't get mornings. You got to pick the whole day, right? Because my answer would change if it's time frame. So
unless you're Golden Corral sending out the restaurant coupon for that day, you can send Sunday morning. Get the church crowd. But I would avoid Sunday, and then Tuesday gets a lot of hate. So you know what? I'm gonna throw Saturday under the bus and be like, you know what? Saturday, we're gonna give the weekend to the people.
That is ridiculous. People shop on Saturday, Gabe. All right, we're taking this offline. Comment. Test for yourself. By the way, we're not saying don't send. We're just saying if we had to choose. All right, moving on. Our next question is somewhat similar. It's about SMS, though. It's grown considerably over the past several years now. Last year, it grew 62% year over year alone. So, Gabe, more brands are sending to more consumers than ever. How often should a brand send scheduled SMS campaigns?
So I think the thing we have to kind of focus on here is, who are you sending this SMS message to? I think that's the number one thing. And to me, it's more about a VIP audience, right? So it's somebody who's either new and really excited about purchasing your product. Maybe you're doing a product drop, that type of stuff. So I think once, twice a week, again, depending on the brand. SMS has to fit that brand voice. I always go back to that brand voice. But if, I don't know why this came to my head, but I'm just going to roll with it. If I sell caskets online I don't think a text
Recession-proof.
I don't think a text messaging marketing campaign is appropriate for selling caskets online. It just does, like, I would not want to get that to my phone, right? Like, usually you're buying that because it should be a more personal experience. You're kind of sitting down, it's family. I don't want a text message about that.
Do you want an email about that, Gabe?
An email at least is like, I can open it when I'm ready. I can like sit down at my desktop. Like, I can have the appropriate respect for purchasing a casket online. We have really gone off the rails on this one.
I know, all right.
This is fantastic. So brand voice. To me, like a product drop, a consumable good product, all those types of things. You're releasing a new flavor, whatever, that kind of stuff. To me, that's really when SMS shines, because you're trying to drive traffic to your site as quickly as possible and get those people with an impulse buy. Here's something new. If it's just like your run-of-the-mill like content campaign for the day, like, hey, here's our founders' favorites. Here's what we have in overstock. Like, I don't need an SMS for that. Like, kind of dedicate your channels to different marketing messages. It also avoids you cannibalizing your list. I've talked about that for years with like, what do you put on social media, right? Like, do you post your email campaign on social? Well, it depends on what it is. Because if I can get the same content that I'm getting in SMS is that you're sending me an email, why am I subscribed to both channels?
Yeah, 100%. So I would say, like email, I would send an email multiple times a week, but I used to tell people, and if you're selling something, send it at least once a week. And I still stick with that, right? So if you're doing SMS and you have a program going at least once a week. By the way, I'm going to use this as my living will. I have one, but it's going to fight once I hit the bucket, cremate me. I'm done. I don't need the casket. All right. Second, we talked about cart abandonment and browse abandonment and welcome message and people that signed up. So, do you need to send 4 SMS messages a week to promote different sales when we also have them in our automations? No, you might not need them anyways, but if you have them in your automations, and I'd certainly recommend doing so to target those high intent shoppers, think about how that's going to fit into maybe that 6-day gap where you're not sending the people, or a 5-day gap, or whatever it might be. And then 100% agree with you. Look for the value adds, look for exclusive offers, flash sales, maybe last chance reminders, things like that for exclusive sales, or those big sales you might want to push into there. So I would say at least once a week, maybe twice a week. I got that browse abandonment SMS last week. Loved it. Didn't get another one from them probably 5 days before. Haven't got a one since, but it hit me timely. I'm signing up for a lot of SMS programs, and I think once, twice a week. It's pretty good cadence for me.
Awesome. Are we doing self time?
Oh yeah, sorry. The bell rang. You can't hear the bell, Gabe. I don't. This is terrible.
I'm like,
the bell
I can
rang.
ask you another question. I was gonna be like, how many brands do you think you should be subscribed to on SMS before it gets overwhelming?
Yeah, get out of here. We're moving on. Hector's telling us to go.
All right, Greg, let's move on to our industry topic, which is on a specific aspect of two-step sign-up forms. I read this question ahead of time, and I could literally feel my skin crawl because I know exactly this situation. Anyway, okay. I don't want to give any prejudice of what's going to be discussed, but okay. The part of the question is when a brand offers a discount to sign up, shows the pop-up and an email input. Then, after putting in the email address, says, but if you really want the discount, you have to give us your mobile number and opt in to SMS. Give me your thoughts on this.
Foul. That is how bad it is, right? So I am trying to think of questions. By the way, Hector, the timer has not started yet. Don't start the timer. All right, so I'm thinking of questions that I'm going through this list of people that submitted, and I say to my wife, what drives you nuts about this? And this is the first thing that came to her mind. She's like, you know what I hate? It's that. Right, so I'm like, that's a perfect thing. I gotta talk to Gabe about this. All right, start the timer now. All right, so totally foul, right? As my chicken would tell you. So, yeah, the same thing happens to me. I'm like, okay, I'll sign up because I'm in email marketing. I want to get the email anyways. But if I am going to buy, and I get that, I never sign up for the SMS program. It drives me nuts. And I will bounce. I'll keep the site in mind in case I'm out of options there, but I will bounce. I will wait a little bit to see if I get an email with that offer in there, and then I'll go back and sign up for the SMS. But I can't stand it. I think it's so misleading. It's deceiving. And I would just imagine that if you're upset, but you really want to buy from them, you're going to sign up for the SMS. you're going to get it. You're going to use the promo code. You're going to unsubscribe from both email and SMS, and you're not going to be a repeat shopper. And I would bet that's how most people do it. So that's my view on it. I know your skin's crawling, so I'm going to turn it over to you and let you rail.
Yeah, and I have a brand specifically in mind. And so I have a pet cat. I was a dog person always growing up, but I have a pet cat. And the amount of research I've done into cat litter is absurd. And I should just go ask ChatGPT what cat litter I should be using for this situation. But anyway, so I do all this research. I find a subscription-based cat litter program. I'm like, this is great. I'll have to think about it. I don't have to run to the store. It's consumable. I'm going to use it. So I go and I get the website, and it's like, hey, sign up with your email, get the discount. It says, give me the email. Here's your discount. I click submit. They're like, well, if you really want the discount, you have to add your phone number. And I'm like, I am signing up for a subscription. I don't even need you to send me marketing emails. And yet you're making me sign up for SMS to get campaigns about something I've already purchased. I'm already bought in. And I literally now get emails and text messages about buying more cat litter. And I'm like, I'm on a subscription. I don't need any more cat litter.
So perfect example. You think about that, right? Subscription, what a tough business to be in. Just customer acquisition alone and then customer retention. It's terrible, right? They could have lost you as a customer, first of all, which $50 customer acquisition cost between marketing and all that stuff there outdoor. But now, like if you find, so let me just ask you, if you find an alternative to this and knowing you're getting bombarded with messages, would you consider it?
So I did what all good consumers did was I'm like, okay, it's a good product. Let's see how it works. But it's a little bit pricier, but the cat deserves it. So I do some more research. I cancel my subscription, right? I cancel it. And then of course they give me like don't cancel, we'll give you 80% off the next 3 months, which is a whole nother retention tactic, which drives me bonkers, which we can discuss in a later episode. So I'm like, nope, I'm canceling. I'm getting out of here. So I go and I try the other cat litter. It doesn't work. So I have to go back. So now I'm crawling back. I get the pop-up. I type in my email address. You're already subscribed. Oh. All I have to do is add a dot in my Gmail address. And I get my discount. But now I'm still subscribed to the email address without the dot, the email address with the dot, and I get twice as many emails. And at this point, like, I'm just deleting them. Like, I don't even read them because it's like, listen, I've come to terms with this group. We have a love-hate relationship. They make great cat litter. I need to look up their marketing person on LinkedIn so we can have a heart-to-heart, and then it'll be okay.
All right. Your cat's happy. That's all that matters. Please let us know your favorite type of cat litter in the comments section. We'll love you for it. We'll compare here. All right, Gabe, we are so over time. We are getting hammered here. Last question for today. Our final topic involves multi-channel automation. You have an automated workflow with both email and SMS. Should you start by sending an email or start by sending a text, and why?
Yeah, so I think it depends on the automation. For me, abandoned cart and SMS makes total sense first. And getting that like 15, 30 minutes after abandonment, kind of a short time frame. I think you could even test as short as 10 minutes, right? And to me, that's always the concept. I go, in my own personal life, what am I going to be distracted by? And how quickly can you get me back to where I need to go? We all know that people don't leave text messages unread. There are those people that have obnoxious amounts of unread emails on their phone. I don't know how they live, but okay, fine. You have 7,000 unread messages. You're psycho. It's fine. But that being said, like, people are going to read that SMS, or if it's an SMS I need to go back to, I leave it unread so that when I pick up my phone, inevitably within the next 30 minutes, I see that unread bubble and I'm now clicking on it and being like, okay, yes, here's my intent to buy. Welcome series, to me, it makes more sense to have, an email first. And then, depending on where you incorporate that SMS opt-in through that welcome flow or through that onboarding flow of that customer, I think that will depend on where that SMS gets put into it. But I think anything like shopping behavior-wise, SMS to start with totally makes sense. SMS is more expensive. So for me, it makes more sense to have more emails than SMS. But Greg, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What if you had to make the perfect flow of email, SMS, what order would you go in?
So I think I'm going to agree with you and then just try to lay some stuff out that, for the most part, I do them both here, but it depends on the workflow here. Welcome. Let's start with the welcome. if you're signing up for email and SMS and hopefully not forced to do both, I would send both, right? I might send the email immediately and maybe the SMS 5-10 minutes later or something like that. But you signed up for both, welcome them on both. The SMS is a great kind of last chance thing if they haven't converted. So you send 2-3 emails in your welcome series. You can follow up with an SMS at that point. So I would send both for the welcome message. Browse abandonment, we talked about already in an episode that I got the browse abandonment SMS within, half an hour maybe, and I liked it, right? But I didn't get the email for it. Cart abandonment, browse abandonment, I would use both of those much quicker. So agreeing with you, then the email, I think it's obvious that we can get them right away and maybe bring them back and get that conversion. But it doesn't mean I would do then SMS, email, SMS, email. I would probably do maybe 2 emails in a row or something like that and just kind of see how the conversions go. Because cart abandonment emails convert extremely well. Do we need to pay more for SMS? I would say no. Browse abandonment, you might just need the one SMS message and let email kind of finish off there. Something like a birthday, I don't know, I might be okay just sending an SMS on a birthday and maybe ignoring the email or, sending the email at a later date, maybe on the birthday SMS comes before, something like that. So I do think it depends, but I'd say probably depends on what you're selling as well and kind of what you go back to your brand voice, right? There's your brand voice. But here's how I look at it. If people are signed up for both, they want both. So appease them. All right, it's just a matter of which one you think provides a better customer experience. And if they don't like it, you'll know pretty soon because they'll be unsubscribing. The bell is there, so I'll give you final comments here, Gabe.
No, I think you've hit it perfectly. I would probably only disagree with you that I think I would do a birthday email 2 weeks before, and I would do an SMS on their birthday. That's the only difference I would make. Make that personal touch.
There you go. I like it. I'll convert my ways of thinking here.
There you go.
All right, Gabe, inbox is full for the day. A friendly reminder to all of you out there, if you have any email industry questions you want us to tackle, leave them in the comment section. Find us on social media, and we'll try to add them into a future show. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. I cannot talk, but I made it through most of this, so I'm okay. I'd be crazy or maybe fired if I didn't mention that while Omnisend has an amazing free plan that any e-commerce business can use, if you need a discount on one of our premium plans, check out the link and promo code in the video description. Enjoy it, save some money, and go laughing all the way to the bank. Hope you enjoyed learning something today. Thank you to our producer, Hector Salamanca. I'm Greg Zakowicz.
And I'm Gabe Macaluso.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out any past episodes you may have missed for other topics. And until next time, happy marketing, everyone.